एक सेमिनार में हिस्सा लेने पहुंचे भारत में इजराइल के राजदूत रूवेन आजार ने पाकिस्तान को लेकर बेहद अहम बयान दिया है। पाकिस्तान के साथ साथ उन्होंने बांग्लादेश की तरफ भी इशारा किया है। उनसे सवाल यह हुआ कि क्या वाकई में इजराइल पाकिस्तान को एक असरदार शांति दूत की भूमिका में देखता है, तो उनका जवाब बिल्कुल साफ था। उन्होंने कहा कि बिल्कुल नहीं, और उन्होंने इसके पीछे की वजह भी बताई कि किस तरह से पाकिस्तान और बांग्लादेश जैसे देश हमास के साथ मिलकर काम कर रहे हैं। ऐसे में वो इजराइल के साथ बहुत न्याय संगत नहीं दिखाई देते।
So do you really trust Pakistan's position to be able to play an effective peacemaker?
Absolutely not. And not only that, we've seen the influence of Hamas in this region. There's a very good paper written by Dr. Abhinav Pandya from USANAS. I recommend all of you who haven't read this paper, maybe Hadass, you should disseminate it to the participants of this event at least, that talks about the so-called inspiration of the 7th of October and the influence that it had in our region. Hamas leaders have visited Pakistan and Bangladesh several times. They have an ambassador, kind of an ambassador in Pakistan. And we have gathered all this information from open sources. I can only imagine what is happening behind the scenes when it comes to this kind of inspiration. If we all have seen that kind of terrible behavior in Palgam. So we are actually suffering from the same threat, and I'm happy that we are enhancing our cooperation when it comes to capabilities to deal with threats of that nature.
इतना ही नहीं, उनसे सवाल यह भी हुआ कि क्या पाकिस्तान वाकई में आपको लगता है कि अमेरिकी राष्ट्रपति डोनाल्ड ट्रंप के कहने पर अब्राहम अकॉर्ड में शामिल हो जाएगा। तो उसको लेकर उन्होंने साफ तौर पर कहा कि अब्राहम अकॉर्ड से सबका फायदा होगा, इसे सिर्फ इजराइल के लिए फायदेमंद के तौर पर नहीं देखना चाहिए। सुनिए उन्होंने क्या कुछ कहा है।
I'll give you my reading. Look, President Trump has this way of poking sometimes partners and calling their bluff, okay? Israel and the United States are doing a very important job here, are carrying a lot of weight for the future of this region. And that includes the future of the states in the Gulf. Now, we've been working under the umbrella of CENTCOM with these countries to defend the skies of the Middle East. And if we succeed, that will mean stability for the Gulf region for the long term. That will mean that more than 10 million Indians that are working in the Gulf will have a prospect of not only keeping their jobs, but also adding more jobs, adding more prosperity. We could never have prosperity in the Gulf in a situation that the Iranian regime has a nuclear arsenal, tens of thousands of ballistic missiles, it controls the Gulf, and it has the aspiration to take over not necessarily only Israel, but also Mecca and Medina. We know it very well, and the Gulf countries know that very well. So President Trump was, I think, rightly saying, you should at least reward Israel by joining the Abraham Accords, which is a fair claim. Of course, that, we are not in a rush. Each country has their own interest. At the end of the day, we have been seeing the anti-Semitic, reprehensible statements that have coming out from Pakistan. This is completely unacceptable. And at the end of the day, people have to accept not only our existence, but the legitimacy of our indigenous rights on the land of Israel. Because these rights are legitimate, they are indeed indigenous. We are part of the history of this region, and that is expressed not only in our books, but also in the Islamic books. And some of the countries, we have here the ambassador of Azerbaijan. Thank you for coming, sir. They are also Muslim countries, and even Shiite. And they, I think, recognize Israel as a legitimate part of the region. So unless countries like Pakistan join that club, I think it's going to be very difficult to de-radicalize our region, and this will have negative implications not only on us, but you know very well they're also for you.
इजराइल वाकई में पाकिस्तान को एक खतरे के रूप में ही देखता है। अमेरिका भले ही इस वक्त पाकिस्तान को अपनी गोद में बिठाकर घुमा रहा हो, लेकिन इजराइल हमेशा से ही अपने स्टैंड पर कायम है। जब तक ये लोग इजराइल के वजूद को स्वीकार नहीं करते, तब तक इस पूरे क्षेत्र में शांति आ पाना संभव दिखाई नहीं पड़ता। ब्यूरो रिपोर्ट, भारत तक।